At 71, I had millions in the bank. Then my only son was killed in a car accident, and I lost everything that mattered. I was 71 years old when I got the call that shattered my entire world, ripping my brilliant son, Michael, from me in an instant. But what came after that raw, agonizing grief was a discovery so shocking, so utterly impossible, that it completely rewrote everything I thought I knew about loss, and about my own son. I was sitting in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd made Michael his breakfast every morning until he moved out, the place where we'd shared countless dreams for his future, his medical practice. When that phone rang, a cold dread seized my chest before I even answered. "Mrs. Patterson, this is Officer Williams, calling about your son, Michael Patterson." The world just stopped. Everything after that was a blur of detached medical terms I never wanted to understand. Collision, unresponsive, sorry for your loss. Just like that, Michael was gone. My only child. My brilliant son, a respected doctor who called me every Sunday, who still sent me Mother's Day flowers with notes in his careful handwriting. Gone at 43 in an instant because someone ran a red light. I hung up the phone and stared at my hands, suddenly seeing how much older, how much more fragile they looked. The silence in my house? It wasn't peaceful anymore. It was empty, hollow, a gaping wound in my chest. People always said I was lucky to have so much money. My late husband, Gerald, had been incredibly smart with investments, and I'd been careful with our savings after he passed 8 years ago. We had millions. A beautiful house. Everything we'd worked for. But what good is any of it when the only person you wanted to share it with is gone? It was all just meaningless. The funeral preparations passed in a haze. Michael's hospital colleagues handled everything. They spoke about him with such respect, calling him dedicated, compassionate. They talked about the long hours, the countless patients he cared for, how he never seemed to take time for himself. Always staying late, always going above and beyond, Dr. Rodriguez told me at the visitation. We used to joke the hospital was his second home. I nodded, I smiled, I accepted their condolences. But inside, a gnawing guilt began. Had Michael been working so much because he was lonely? Had I, his mother, somehow failed him? We spoke every week, but now I wondered, was that enough? Should I have visited more? Insisted he take vacations, find someone to settle down with? The funeral service was at St. Mary's, the same church where Michael had been baptized. The pews were packed with people whose lives he'd touched. I sat in the front row, wearing the black dress I'd bought for Gerald's funeral, a dress I'd prayed I'd never have to wear again. Father Martinez spoke beautifully, but all I could think about was how impossibly quiet my house would be when I went home. At Greenwood Cemetery, the April air was crisp, hinting at a spring Michael would never see. I walked slowly behind his casket, supported by my sweet neighbor, Mrs. Chin. As they lowered my son's casket into the earth, something inside me broke in a way I knew would never completely heal. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. Parents aren't supposed to bury their children. As the crowd began to leave, I noticed them. 3 small figures, standing at a distance near a big oak tree. 3 identical little girls, maybe 10 or 11, all in black dresses that looked too formal for their age. They stood close, holding hands, their faces serious with a grief that seemed far beyond their years. They approached Michael's grave slowly, almost reverently, each carrying a single white daisy. Full story on the channel. Link below. Click now and watch what happened next.